Bonkers, man. Bonkers. William Regal gave his soul to the devil. Actually, MJF really wasn't the devil, I guess, because this past Wednesday, Moxley said that MJF wasn't the devil. Seems like Moxley was right. Because all this time, William Regal was the devil. And it was William Regal who helped MJF win the AEW World Championship. Oh, man. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Big Fight Fuel channel, where we speak the truth, we're honest, we give our takes on AEW. Oh, man. It is 12:10 a.m. So technically it's Sunday, November 20th, 2022. We're here to talk about AEW Full Gear, AEW's last pay-per-view of 2022, which I thought, personally, was a great pay-per-view. The pay-per-view got over before 12 o'clock, which was great. 10 matches is fine for the AEW pay-per-views. I prefer 9. All right, I would prefer 9 matches, but for what we got tonight, it was really good. It was a great pay-per-view from 8 o'clock till 11:50 when the show got over. We started off hot with that steel cage match, which we're going to talk about. Probably the best steel cage match of 2022 this year, and a star-elevating match for both Jack Perry and Luchasaurus. There was a lot of great shit on this show tonight. I would say there was probably, 1 or 2 matches that were very to me, which we'll get to, but this was a very eventful night from the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. A great pay-per-view, and really positive direction, I think, for AEW going into the last couple weeks of the year, basically, before we kick right into 2023, which is going to be a new year for AEW. A lot of shit that we wouldn't expect. I wouldn't expect the New Jersey crowd to chant "F you Moxley" during the main event. I may talk about it one more time. I certainly, during the Death Triangle Elite match, right when the bell started and Omega and Pac were doing the lockup, the New Jersey crowd was thunderous, and I mean loudly chanting F CM Punk. There was loud chants of fuck CM Punk at the Prudential Center tonight, but we got a lot to talk about, folks. I thank you all so much for joining me tonight on the Big Fight Fuel channel. Again, I'm flying solo. Joseph Conlon, Wesley Williams, and Cam Johnson, they were out enjoying the pay-per-view tonight, so we'll get them back next week, hopefully. And I want to dive into this puppy, man. I want to dive into this show. There's a lot to talk about. So, let's just get into it, dude. So the show, like I said, opened up with the steel cage, Jack Perry versus Luchasaurus, which I thought was a match that elevated both Jack Perry and Luchasaurus into the next level of their careers. Jack Perry won with a flying elbow off the top of the steel cage, through a table with Luchasaurus laying on the table. He went through the table. Jack Perry got his ass kicked. He was bleeding all over the place in the beginning of the match. This was just great. Jungle Boy really wouldn't lay down and give up to Luchasaurus. And rarely do we hear Luchasaurus talk. And he was screaming, "Stay down," and you better not get back up and stuff like that. Luchasaurus was kind of talking some smack in this, and I know mostly this story's been about Jungle Boy and Christian. Luchasaurus has played a big part into this rivalry now, and I think his stock in AEW since turning heel and being with Christian Cage has risen, and I think that's a great thing for Luchasaurus. Now, the only bad thing that's coming out of this is I still think this feud is not over, and this feud is going to drag for a couple months. I don't know when it's going to be over, but Christian is still nursing his arm injury. We really never got a blow-off match which will end this feud between Jungle Boy and Christian Cage. Whenever Christian's healthy and he's ready to go, that's going to be the big blow-off for this entire feud, and they can finally move on. But if you're sitting here and you're thinking this feud's over, it's not, because we still need to get the big blow-off match between Christian Cage and Jungle Boy before they can finally move on. I know I kind of want them to move on, but they're not going to, because Tony Khan probably wants to do a big blow-off match to finally culminate the feud between Christian Cage and Jungle Boy. But this was incredible. Like I said, this not only elevated Jack Perry to the next level, this also elevated Luchasaurus to the next level. And I think we really got to appreciate how good Luchasaurus is, because, we've talked with the Jurassic Express tag team. Everybody wants to talk about Jungle Boy. Not a lot of credit, some credit, but not a lot of credit has gone to Luchasaurus. He's amazing. He's a great wrestler, and I really think him turning heel and being with Christian and not being stuck with Jungle Boy during this feud helped out a lot. So, this was great. I would probably put this in my top 3 match of the night. Top 3 match of the night, I would have this match in there. Story was great. The way Jungle Boy battled was great. And they protected Luchasaurus. He lost, but he lost from an elbow off the top of the cage. Then Luchasaurus was so exhausted from the beating that Jack was giving him. Jack put in the snare trap, and Luchasaurus tapped out. So, Jungle Boy wins. I don't think this feud's over, though. So if you're wishing for this to be over, I don't think you're being granted your wish. Death Triangle defended the Trios titles against the Elite. This is my match of the night. I had a feeling this would be match of the night when it was announced on Wednesday. I mean, this was everything you want between these 6 wrestlers. Just all over the place. And we'll talk about what's happening when we get to the result of this match. So, the Elite came out to a fire entrance, probably entrance of the night. Their theme song was Wayward Son. Yeah. It was Wayward Son, I believe. That's what their song was. So the crowd popped for that. The crowd was loving the Elite. They were also loving Death Triangle too, but they were loving the Elite. So I would say that they were mostly on the Elite side for this one. This is a lot to talk about. If you just guys didn't watch this match, I would prefer you go back and check them. But We'll talk about it at the end. We're going to be doing a lot of those matches. But this was fantastic. This was my match of the night. Crowd was standing for the last 10 minutes at the end. The finish. So in the middle of the match, Pac wanted Rey Fenix to use that hammer. Pac used the hammer at Grand Slam to retain when he was the All-Atlantic champion. He used it to retain against Orange Cassidy. I believe he used it in one of his six-man tag matches as well. But he wanted Rey Fenix to use the hammer, and Rey Fenix wouldn't do it. Rey Fenix almost lost the match, but when he got V-triggered by Kenny Omega, but Rey Fenix kicked out. The finish came when it was Fenix and Omega. Omega was setting up for the V-trigger. Pac goes to grab the hammer. He puts it in Rey Fenix's hand. Excuse me, I need a sip real quick. Omega is going for the V-trigger. Pac puts the hammer in Rey Fenix's hand. Phoenix gets hit with the V-trigger. Rey Fenix counters the one-winged angel by hitting Omega over the head with the hammer. He then rolled him up, and Rey Fenix cheated to win against Kenny Omega. And Rey Fenix later on realized that he used the hammer. He cheated to beat Kenny Omega. Rey Fenix was very upset that he had to cheat to win to beat the Elite on this night. Pac then talked to him. Penta, his brother, even talked to him, and they calmed him down, and they told him, "Hey, you're fine. We're still the champions." And Rey Fenix was breathing calmly, but even his brother was like, "Hey, dude, we're the champions still. We did it. We retained the trios title." So I'm okay. I was totally okay. And in fact, thinking about this during the next match, I'm actually glad the Death Triangle won, because what would it say about Death Triangle if the Elite came back and they immediately got back the trios titles? It would have said transitional champions all over it, which Death Triangle, they're better than transitional champions. Penta, Phoenix, and Pac, they're better than just being transitional champions, okay? And really, the Elite didn't need to win the six-man titles tonight. Now, eventually they're going to win the six-man titles because so I don't know. I don't know how this is being set up to be. What was announced before the main event is we're getting a best of 7 between the Death Triangle and the Elite. You guys remember, I believe it was 2016, when WWE did a best of 7 between Sheamus and Cesaro? It's going to be like that. So we're getting a best of 7 for the AEW World Trios Tag Titles. And I got the rundown here. The first match happened tonight. The Death Triangle won. The second match is going to happen Wednesday on Dynamite. The third match is going to happen November 30th. That's the Dynamite after that's going to happen this week. Match 4 is going to happen at Winter is Coming. Match 5 at the Holiday Bash. Match 6 at New Year's Smash. And then match 7, the final match, is going to happen on Dynamite in Los Angeles. Now, more than likely, this is going to 7, okay? This is going to be going to 7. What I don't know is, are the titles going to be on the line for every match? Because if the titles are on the line for every match, there's going to be a lot of flip-flopping of the trios tag titles between the Elite and the Death Triangle. But folks, at the end of the day, it's Penta, it's Phoenix, it's Pac, it's the Young Bucks, and it's Kenny Omega. And you're getting them to face off against each other for 6 more matches. And with matches like tonight that they put on, are you really going to sit there and complain over getting Death Triangle versus Elite for 6 weeks of free television? No, I know I'm not. So I'm going to enjoy the heck out of it because it's going to be awesome. And these two teams, they're incredible. So, Jade Cargill against Nyla Rose for the TBS Championship. This was by far the weakest match on the show. Jade won. I really didn't pay attention to it that much, if I'm being completely honest with you. No disrespect to Jade or Nyla, but I simply didn't care. So, and I'm glad the feud's over too. The feud did nothing for me. Jade Cargill wins, and I really think there has to be some serious talk about when Jade Cargill is going to be dropping that damn TBS championship. Because if we're being real, she's done nothing to make that title feel important. Okay? That's the most worthless title in all of AEW. Just flat out, the TBS title doesn't mean anything. And her reign, her long 10-month reign, hasn't done anything to elevate the TBS championship. So, and there was a simple solution of Jamie Hayter winning the TBS championship, but after tonight, I don't think that's the case anymore. Let's move on. Fatal 4-Way for the Ring of Honor World title. Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, Sammy Guevara, and Chris Jericho. Fatal 4-Way for the world title. Crowd ate this up. Crowd ate this match up. Now, Sammy Guevara was getting booed out of the building during his entrance. And then when he got into the altercation with Jericho and he started fighting Jericho, the crowd was on the side of Sammy Guevara, which interesting. I think Jericho just hit a code breaker on Claudio, and Sammy Guevara pulled Jericho off of Claudio. There was one point of the match I really thought Sammy Guevara had Jericho. Guevara was helping Jericho get up. They were hugging. Guevara then grabs Jericho, and he grabbed Jericho, hit him with the GTH, hit him with a 450 splash, but Chris Jericho found a way to kick out. What might have been an even closer near fall was Guevara dove on the Jericho on the outside, but in the inside, Bryan Danielson gave Claudio a fantastic running knee, and Claudio sold it really good, which had the entire building on their feet, but Claudio kicked out. The ending, a little sloppy, but creative. The ending came where Claudio was giving Sammy Guevara the giant swing. Jericho came out of nowhere. He tried to hit the Judas effect to Claudio, but it looked like he hit Claudio in the stomach with the Judas effect, which made him let go of the swing, but then he got him in the face a second time for the Judas effect. Jericho retained the Ring of Honor World title. Very good match. Crowd ate it all up. I don't know the direction that they're going in with Final Battle for the world title. My guess is we're getting another match between Chris Jericho and Bryan Danielson. That would be my guess. If I had to put money on it, I would say your main event for Final Battle is going to be Chris Jericho against Danielson with some stipulation. With Danielson if Danielson loses, this is going to happen to him or something like that. So, but good stuff overall. Good stuff. We had Britt Baker going up against Saraya. Saraya, her first match in 5 years. You had to expect her to be rusty. I'm going to be honest with you. I would be lying if I said I wasn't nervous sitting there watching this match. Especially in the beginning when the match stopped, when Saraya was grabbing her head. I was nervous. I'm like, oh no, not again. But she was fine. But, overall, the match was fine. Saraya was rusty. Also, you got to think of the factor that these two ladies had a lot of nerves. Saraya was probably extremely nervous. Even Britt Baker. Saraya's first match in 5 years came up against Britt Baker. So Saraya won with 2 DDTs over Britt, which good. She should have won her first match in 5 years. She should have got the win. It could have been a lot better, but it also could have been a lot worse. It was fine for what it was. Britt did a good job protecting Saraya, and she came out healthy. And we're probably going to see more of Saraya on AEW TV. More matches for Saraya. As long as she's safe, I'm fine with it. Again, you just had to expect her to have nerves. You just had to expect her to be rusty going into this match. So, she got the win, and it was fine. Nothing special, but let me see. Next on my list, TNT title. TNT title, Powerhouse Hobbs, Samoa Joe, and Wardlow. I would say this was probably the most shocking result of the night. These guys only got 10 minutes, which kind of sucks. You got so many matches on the main show. One of the matches was going to get cut down sometime. That probably should have deserved more time. Unfortunately, this was the fall. This was the match. This match only went 10 minutes. Could have went much longer than that. But this was probably the most shocking surprise of the night. So, going into it, I had Wardlow winning. I had Wardlow retaining the TNT Championship because I just simply thought that AEW and Tony Khan didn't do enough with Wardlow's reign, that it's too soon for it to be over. So, and I wanted Hobbs to win. But I thought Wardlow was going to retain because it's just really, realistically, it's just not the time for Wardlow to drop the TNT title. What happened, though? Well, ending finish, Wardlow took Powerhouse Hobbs to Powerbomb Sympathy. Wardlow was on his way to retaining the TNT Championship until Samoa Joe hit Wardlow in the back of the head with the TNT Championship. Coquina clutch onto Powerhouse Hobbs. Hobbs passed out immediately because he's unconscious from the power bombs he's taken from Wardlow. And Samoa Joe is the new TNT champion. Didn't expect that coming. Joe now has 2 belts. He's the Ring of Honor television champion, and he's the TNT champion now. So where does this lead? I don't know where this leads for Powerhouse Hobbs. He's great. He's going to be a champion in AEW one day. I just don't. Now, I guess it's not his time, but I do think this is going to lead to Wardlow against Joe for both titles at Final Battle, because that's where the story is. It's between Wardlow and Joe. They were a tag team, and now Joe took Wardlow's TNT championship. So, yeah, man, definitely shocking for sure. Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal against Sting and Darby Allin. I love Jeff Jarrett, okay? I don't care what any of y'all say. You can say TNA, make all fun of that. Jeff Jarrett's the freaking man. Jeff Jarrett is an excellent heel. And kudos to everybody in this involved in this match. This was really fun. Shout out to Satnam Singh. Tonight, Satnam Singh was him. He was him tonight. Darby Allin, this was the highlight of the match. This was definitely the highlight of the match. Darby Allin grabbed a ladder, and he was going to hit a coffin drop onto Jeff Jarrett, jumping from the top of the ladder onto Jeff Jarrett. He jumps off the top of the ladder, but he's caught. He's caught by Satnam Singh. Satnam Singh carries him like a rag doll to the stage, and he has him up in the Ego's Edge position, and he launches him onto the stage. I don't know if I should have laughed, but I laughed, man. I thought that was pretty funny. Satnam Singh was really, really good in this match. Caught Jay Lethal. Sting jumped off the guardrail onto Satnam Singh. He actually overdove him a little bit, so I'm glad Sting's okay. But, yeah, the babyfaces won, and Darby Allin pinned Lethal with a coffin drop. So it was fun. It was a fun tag team match. Short and sweet, too. Jamie Hayter. How about Jamie Hayter, man? He challenged Toni Storm for the Women's Championship, and she won. She won the Women's Championship, man. At the end of the day, I thought it was the right call. You know why? Because this was a certain situation, like All Out, like we got with the Acclaimed against Swerve and Out Glory. Chicago hated Swerve and Out Glory. They wanted the Acclaimed to win so bad, and when Swerve and Out Glory retained the tag titles, they were livid. They were pissed that the Acclaimed didn't win. If Toni Storm won, it would have been the same way. This crowd was all Jamie Hayter. This crowd loved Jamie Hayter, and they were booing Toni Storm. Britt Baker came out. She caused a distraction. She hits the curb stomp on the Toni Storm on the outside onto the title. Toni kicks out. This was top 3 match. I would say this was probably my second favorite match of the night. One of, and a lot of people are saying this, one of the best women's matches in AEW history. One of the best women's matches in AEW history. These two killed it. The near falls were overwhelming. Man. Crowd was roaring 1, 2 as Jamie Hayter had the cover in, as Toni Storm had the cover in. I thought when Toni Storm hit the Storm Zero, I thought that was it. And Jamie Hayter kicked out. Britt was then messing with the turnbuckle. Her and Jamie Hayter accidentally collide. Jamie Hayter then uses the exposed turnbuckle to her advantage. She hits that brutal, nice lariat onto Toni Storm, and she's the new women's champion. And yes, I'm not saying interim because I hate that crap. I hate calling it the interim women's champion. You're either the champion or you're not. Thunder Rosa can come back and just get a rematch for the women's championship. That's gay, calling it the interim women's champion. But I'm thrilled for Jamie Hayter. If I had to guess, we're probably getting a turn on Wednesday. Britt Baker turning on Jamie Hayter out of jealousy. So that's what I see happening. Oh boy, I'm sweating here. Swerve and Out Glory took on the Acclaimed for the tag team titles. The match was fine. The match was decent for what it was. It should have been a lot better, though. The crowd was, unfortunately, the crowd was just not into this match, man. The crowd was not into this match at all because they were too damn distracted of two drunk people fighting in a section. You know how I know that? Because there's videos on Twitter of the fight happening and cheering when the when they got kicked out. Can't have that shit. Can't have that shit at wrestling shows, man. But the ending picked up. The crowd was interested in the ending. So Swerve launched Max Caster over top of the table. And he saw pliers. The same pliers that he used to injure the hand of Billy Gunn Daddy Ass. He grabs the pliers. Keith Lee's like, "What are you doing?" He tells him to put it down. Keith Lee gets distracted, rolled up, kicked out. Swerve, later on, gives the pliers to Keith Lee to use to Anthony Bowens. And Keith Lee's like, "Nah, I don't do that, dog." So Swerve gets in the face of Keith Lee, and he slaps Keith Lee in the face. Keith Lee takes a step back. He picks up Anthony Bowens, gives him a nice gentleman's pat on the back, and walks out on Swerve. Crowd erupts as Keith Lee abandons sneaky Swerve. The Acclaimed have a 2-on-1 advantage, and Keith Lee watches as the Acclaimed destroys Swerve, and Max Caster pins Swerve Strickland to retain the tag team titles. Right call, 100%. I was actually getting nervous that Keith Lee was going to pick up Bowens and he was going to use the pliers and turn heel in the process, but we didn't get that. So more than likely, Swerve and Out Glory is finished, and they're going to be done. So Wednesday, Dynamite, Chicago, Thanksgiving Eve. We got 4 matches confirmed tonight. We got the finals of the AEW Eliminator Tournament, the World Title Eliminator Tournament. Ethan Page will be taking on Ricky Starks, which after tonight, I think Ricky Starks is going to win, and he's going to challenge for the World Championship. We also got Chris Jericho defending the Ring of Honor World Title against Tomohiro Ishii. Orange Cassidy defending the All-Atlantic title against Jake Hager. and match 2 between the Death Triangle and the Elite, all on Wednesday night. I'm probably doing a show on Wednesday night unless something goes on for Thanksgiving, so I'll keep you guys in the loop, of course. Main event tonight, MJF against Jon Moxley. Crowd loved MJF, hated Jon Moxley. Crowd was all MJF tonight, man. And MJF was getting his ass kicked. Moxley was kicking the shit out of him limb by limb. To surprisingly, guess what? Moxley didn't bleed tonight, but there was a table involvement. MJF got paradigm shift through the table, and there was a ref bump when Moxley was going to clothesline MJF, but MJF threw Remsburg in front of him. The referee, Bryce Remsburg, he threw Bryce Remsburg in front of Moxley, so Moxley hits him instead of MJF. I lost my word of thought here. Shit. So then Paul Turner comes down, and Moxley has the sleeper hold on him, and he gets knocked down. So now out comes old William Regal. William Regal comes out, and MJF has the Dynamite Diamond Ring. And he goes to put the Dynamite Diamond Ring on, and Regal says, "You better not go back on your word." MJF throws the Dynamite Diamond Ring, and he flips off William Regal. Mox then goes hit the Paradigm Shift, and MJF kicked out. MJF kicked out of the Paradigm Shift. Regal is trying to help Moxley. He's like, "Go get the ref. That's the only way you're going to win. Get the ref up." So, and that was the opening distraction for William Regal to slip brass knucks to Maxwell Jacob Freeman to clock over the head of Jon Moxley, which he does. He hits Moxley with the brass knucks and wins the AEW World Championship. MJF is paired up with William Regal. The Blackpool Combat Club is dead, and MJF is the brand new AEW World Champion in a really good main event to end off this awesome pay-per-view tonight. AEW Full Gear. Folks, I'm getting out of here. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Excuse me. Be sure to subscribe to the Big Fight Fuel channel. I'm taking the day off tomorrow. No Dolphins football, so there's no need for me to do a post-game recap tomorrow if there's no Dolphins game. So I'm going to chill out and take the day off tomorrow. Well-deserved, I think, with these past couple weeks between Dolphins and Full Gear this week. I'm going to take the week off, and I think it's well-deserved. So I'm taking the day off tomorrow. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content, though. Comment down below your thoughts about tonight's AEW Full Gear pay-per-view. Hit the like button if you liked what you heard from me. Follow me on Twitter and TikTok at Colin_Joseph. And folks, I will catch you on the next one. Have a good night. Stay safe. And as always, stay classy. I'm out. Peace.